Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Woodstock, Georgia, it's time for Cherokee Business Radio. Now, here's your host.
Welcome to another exciting and informative edition of Cherokee Business Radio. Stone Payton here with you this morning, and today's episode is brought to you in part by our local small business initiative, the Business RadioX Main Street Warriors, defending capitalism, promoting small business, and supporting our local community. For more information, go to mainstreetwarriors.org. And a special note of thanks to our title sponsor for the Cherokee chapter of Main Street Warriors, Diesel David Inc. Please go check them out at dieseldavid.com. You guys are in for a real treat this morning. Please join me in welcoming to the broadcast with Big Bulldog Consulting, Mr. Kyle Baxter. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Stone, I really appreciate the opportunity to come on with you this morning. I've just been really excited about it. I mean, you know, the BOX radio is just really huge. When I found out about it, I got to looking, and the more I got looking at it, realizing just how big it actually was and the impact it has. And I'm probably your biggest fan. So from here forward, I am the mouth of the South. It will be put out there.
Well, it is a delight to have you in the studio. I got 1,000 questions. I know we're not going to get to them all, but I think a good place to start might be if you could articulate for me and our listeners mission, purpose. What are you and your team really out there trying to do for folks, man?
Well, let me tell you, Stone, I am a 10X business advisor. I partnered with Cardone Ventures, which is owned by Grant Cardone and Brandon Dawson. And, you know, Grant, if you don't know Grant, it's kind of shocking, but if you do, you know Grant Cardone, the biggest promoter that they've got in the world, or at least the United States, you know, number one sales guy, rated by Forbes and everything. And Forbes even rates him the number one influencer on social media. You don't believe me? Get on there and check it out. He blows up Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I mean, he's on all of them, and it's just crazy. I thought I posted a lot. I'm nowhere close to Grant Cardone, but that's part of his promotion thing. Of course, you know, Brandon, he is the whiz. Guy came from Wall Street, and you know, his last company he sold that company for 77% EBITDA, which was set a record on Wall Street for.
I bet it did.
Yeah, for a private company, he sold it for $151 million. This guy is what I call the master guru as far as growth and scaling businesses. And that's one of the reasons I partnered. I was already sold to Grant. You know, I was a Grant licensee for a while where I helped businesses, you know, grow the marketing, their sales. And then this opportunity came on when they combined because they want business advisors to get out and help get the word out to everybody. And I thought, are you kidding me? Yeah, when do I start? Are you kidding me? It's really been an opportunity of a lifetime to me. I'm like, and everything you do with Cardone, I got to tell you, the licensee, the support, and the background, dude, is phenomenal. I don't care what anybody says. I couldn't complain. I had to lie to complain. I mean, anything you want, boom, boom, boom. And same way with Cardone Ventures, built the same way. It's amazing. But anyway, our goal, you know, Cardone Ventures' goal is to, right now, they want to get 100,000 businesses kind of up under their wing that they've trained and instructed and assisted. And in 5 years, be a $1 billion company themselves. And I'll tell you, you know, the first year they started zero capital and they made $2.4 million. And last year was year 4. They were at $84 million.
Wow.
It's crazy. And this year they're on track to probably exceed $150 million just this year alone. It's just crazy.
So tell me a little bit more about exactly who you guys are serving and why. Is there an industry, a segment, a level of advancement that a company has reached? Tell me a little bit more about them.
Well, let me tell you, our baseline customer is one at the first break point where they're getting ready to go on to the second break point at $1 million a year revenue.
Okay.
Now, don't take that as I would not help a business that's under that, because I do. I'll do them too. But that's our main line to go from break point 1 to break point 2. You know, and break points go from 100,000 to 3 million, breakpoint 1, 3 million to 8 million, breakpoint 2, 8 to 15, and 15 to 25 on up scale. And typically when a company gets towards that end where they're getting ready to go, break out of that breakpoint to the following one, is when it gets the toughest and the hardest for companies.
Yeah,
and that's what we do. And as far as the industries, Brandon has done tons and tons of information and studies all across the industries. There's no set industry we work on. It doesn't matter from anywhere. If you're an insurance company to HVAC, to a roofer, to any contractors, a dentist for that matter. Because Brandon's company was actually an audiology company. It was crazy. Audiology, hearing aids. I'm a hearing aid guy. And maybe if I'd have known him sooner, I could have saved some money, But yeah, and that's kind of our target market. But any business that wants help us in that place or they're wanting to grow and scale, I'll go out of my way to help because Big Bulldog itself, our goal is to help as many businesses as we possibly can. That's our personal goal. And our motto is we don't succeed unless you succeed. And that's just the way that works. And I mean that.
Well, I'm sure there are a number of idiosyncrasies, specific, unique challenges in any single business. And I got to believe, I'll say in the same breath, I'll bet you see patterns, some of the same pathologies may be a little bit strong, but some of the same challenges and patterns. I don't care if they're manufacturing surfboards or pulling teeth, don't you?
You really do. It's crazy. I see it everywhere I go, all kind of different businesses, I've worked with. I ran my own business for about 11 years in Michigan too, a little convenience store. After the first year, I'm sitting there going, man, this isn't going to work. It's not enough money because I didn't do my research and I sure didn't have Brandon Dawson backing me. I didn't have the knowledge he's giving me then, or maybe I could have boomed up, but I'm thinking it's not going to work. So I expanded 2,500 square feet, added food, put in a full deli and catering. And of course, my wife was the boss. She ran that. She's the one that made all the money for us. I was the face, the front man of the company, but she was the money maker, thank God. And, but if I'd have had the knowledge then that I do now, based on working with Brandon and Grant, them being my mentors, Speedway is a big convenience type outlet up north in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd have been their competition. I'd have probably put them out. I'd have beat them because if I'd have did that, I'd have dominated my market. And that's what businesses need to focus on now. They really need to quit worrying about their competitors and they need to focus on dominating their market. Who cares about your competitors? You need best practices, set your goals, and go in and do what you got to do. Hit your marketing, hit your sales. Hit the four pillars of business and be structured and have a goal and go and do it.
So now that you've been at this a while, what are you finding the most rewarding about the work? What do you enjoy the most about it?
Let me tell you, the most reward I get is when I'm dealing with a company and they come through us and they're dealing with myself or Cardone Ventures, and you see within a 12-month, 18-month time frame the advancement they've made. Their growth and their scale in just that amount of time, and to see the expression on these owners' faces, it's like life-changing for them. It is for me, too, because, I make a crazy amount of money in what I do, and I really think, I can't believe I get paid to do this because I love it. We've got 53 million small businesses in the United States today, and unfortunately, probably about 25 million probably out of business 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
And I don't want that because people don't understand that our economy is driven by small business. It's not the big guys, and I'll tell you this, and somebody may argue with them, but we're going to argue. Go ahead. But I'm telling you, I'm right. As Apple, I'm an Apple guy. I'm not one of those that every time Apple comes up with something new, I got to have because I'm not that techie. It's just all my stuff talks, and I think Apple's for idiots because you don't have to be a computer guy to use it. So, their software to me is easier than Microsoft. But you know what? If Apple were to go out of business today, it wouldn't be a blip on the economy. And Apple's got $90 million cash reserves. They do most of their stuff with debt. And as big as they are and what they do, you'd think if they went out of business, that'd impact our economy. Wouldn't even notice it. Would not. You'd hear about it in the paper. But money-wise, as the economy of scale goes up and down, wouldn't be a blip.
I agree with you 110%. Everything I read says that, but just anecdotally, I hang out with business people a lot. I really do believe with all my heart, we're the backbone of this country financially in a lot of other ways as well. So let's talk about the work a little bit. I'm particularly interested in the early stages of the work. What are some of the things that happen early on as you're getting an engagement off the ground?
Well, Stone, I'll tell you what. Say for instance, I get a business owner. We sit down and have a discussion, and there's a few things to do. I have a small 3-page form. It's no major deal. All you do is color in the little circles. Mm-hmm. That kind of gives me a background on what their chief personal, professional, and financial goals are tied to the business, because I need to know that. And because what we're going to do is, once I know their ultimate goal, we're going to go out, and Brandon does it with a lot of business too. Goes out 10-year time frame, and then reverse engineers it back. So you put all the steps in place, so you know where your targets are every month, every quarter, on down. So you're hitting that to get to the level of your goal. And then we review a lot of things with owners. One of the things I do is I go over the 7 forces of impact that drive value with owners. And, the first one is process documentation, performance management and enhancement, best practice duplication, high accountability standards, peer-to-peer benchmarking, financial alignment based on the impact, and market opportunity. And of course, each one of those alone is probably, we could sit here and talk about for an hour.
Well, I'll make an observation real quick, because I am a representative of this species that you're out there trying to serve. And I have read about those things. I intellectually understand how powerful and impactful they are. As an entrepreneur, I own 40% of the Business RadioX network. I run one of the studios. I get so buried in the weeds in managing the day-to-day, putting out fires, celebrating wins, recovering from challenges, that it's easy, or at least for me personally, I won't speak for the whole population, but it's easy to let those 7 things fade, isn't it?
Oh, it really is. And I think that's one of the issues that affects business owners that I can help them out with. As a business owner, you get busy, you get your priorities, say you're really pushing, you're really promoting your side, your salespeople over here, if you've got a sales team, maybe you only got a couple people sales team. That's still a sales team, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Doing theirs, maybe you got somebody doing your marketing. So you're kind of leaving that to the wayside, and you're focusing on what you're doing, and you could miss some of those key things. Well, the way we structure businesses with Cardone Ventures, their way, Brandon Dawson's way, all those things are inputted or part of the day-to-day operations. Your structure, your business is going to be arranged where every one of those elements are impacted, in place, structured. We do that for companies. It's like a blueprint from start to finish, where it's not something you have to think and focus on every day. It's part of the business atmosphere. It's part of the culture.
So how does the whole sales and marketing thing work for a practice like yours at Big Bulldog and a process like you're beginning to describe here? Do you yourself have to get out there and shake the trees a little bit? Is it all coming in through this Cardone brand equity? Is it a mixture of the two? Do you find yourself having to eat your own cooking? How do you get the chance to start having those conversations with the people who should be seriously considering engaging you?
Let me tell you, I do a lot. I'm all over social media. And that's one of the things that some of the business I deal with that may not be at the $1 million revenue you get at, the 100,000 between that area. Because typically, if a business has got their marketing and their sales side pretty slayed in, it's not perfect, but pretty good, they should realistically be able to hit that $1 million a year revenue. You really should. And I can show them stats and data to back that. And so that's usually what happens. I talk to some of the business owners that's in that lower scale. The first thing I ask them, hey, what's your marketing budget? Well, I really don't have one. We got a website. I'm like, great. How many leads, are you getting on that website? Well, couple a quarter. Right. Well, that's not marketing. So, there's some rules. There's the 10X commandments of marketing. And the first one is money follows attention. That's right out of Grant Cardone's mouth. He's absolutely correct. Number 2 is best known always beats the best. Assume nobody sees it. If you post stuff on social media, just assume nobody sees it, because you'd be surprised. You don't know that. That's why if you want social media to work, you got to post regularly, 4 or 5 times a day. I mean, this can be time consuming. That's why you hire somebody to do that. And then attention is the most valuable currency businesses have today. Okay. You know, and in the end one, and I want to come back to that too, but speed is senior to quality. And somebody says, well, I got to have this perfect product. I got to have all the bugs out of it. I don't want to get it out there. Dude, you're going to lose. You're going to lose your pocketbook. Put it out there. Here's a prime example. Every time Microsoft puts out software, how many of those little emails you get from going, hey, we got an update? Apple does the same thing.
Yeah.
Why? Because it wasn't perfect. If they waited for it to be perfect, it'd never hit market. And the goal is to get your product, your service to market. And whoever gets to market the quickest, that's the guys that win. Guys or gals, it doesn't matter. And frequency comes before greatness, And and I have to say this is part of marketing. It's also for sales. No one thing can blow a deal. Okay. I've had people say, well, yeah, I sat down, I didn't close that deal. And I think it's because, well, I didn't show enough enthusiasm. No, that's not it. No one thing will blow a deal. It's going to be several. See, their value wasn't built, and price is nothing. I don't care what anybody says. Price means nothing. Price is made up. It is. It's just made up. And but if you build enough value in there, then price is no longer an issue. Because what you are as a salesperson, that's what I am. I solve people's problems. And if you go and figure out, get the nitty gritty, get to the baseline problem your customer wants to solve, price means nothing. They'll pay whatever it takes to get rid of that problem. Not that you're overcharged, you know what I'm saying? But it's really just a made up number. It's not the quintessential. I hear salespeople say, well, if we just lower the prices around here, my closing ratio would go up. No, it's not. You need to back up and look in the mirror. You're just not a good sale. What part of your salesmanship are you lacking in? Is it your greeting? Is it presentation? Do you know how to close? Are you handling objections the right way? And all those are processes. And Grant Cardone has mastered those, and that's one of the products that I have for my customers is Cardone University. It's a sales training program. Best in the world. It's little snippet videos, 2 to 3 minutes long. And, Cardone started out in the automotive business. Grant will tell you today, he hated sales, didn't want it, sucked, couldn't talk to nobody, didn't want to deal with nobody. But he couldn't get a job. He had an accounting degree. Nobody hired him. And so, he figured, he said, well, I got to do something. So he said, you know what? Even though I hate it, I'm going to be the best sales guy there is. And so he put his mind to it. He did. He really turned. There's probably over 300 auto dealerships today, if not more, that have Cardone University. I guarantee you, any car dealership that's Cardone University or sales are far beyond anybody else. Let me ask you this. What's the worst experience anybody's ever run into? Going to a car, right?
That's me. I'm raising my hand.
Oh, let's go buy a new car. No, honey, 4.5 hours back and forth. Well, Cardone took that whole method and turned it upside down. First thing in my mouth, here's the price. Because back in those days, you go, how much? We'll get to, don't tell them the price yet till we get to close. And you're ticking people off.
And that's all they're thinking about the whole time you're talking about everything else, right?
They don't care about the doodads, the gadgets. I want to know the price. Price and payment. You go to dealerships today and go, hey, what payment would you like? I don't care about the payment, dude. I'm a tough sale because I'm a sales guy. I am a hard sale. And I love those kind. I'm going to tell you why I like hard sales. Because I can close a hard sale. They're easy to close. Believe it or not, that hard sale, they're a lot easier to close than the regular Joe.
Well, no, the easy sale is the one I get concerned about because then they have a tendency to backpedal when right? Has that been your experience?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're saying everything you want to hear, right, in the first 2/3 of the conversation, and then that's been my experience too.
And when you do that too, and plus price, Grant will tell you he never lowers price. I don't lower any price for even my products. And are my prices higher than my competitor? Yeah, they are.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I guarantee you're getting twice the value for me than you are from that competitor. And this is what I used to tell somebody. I had somebody I was speaking with the other day in a sales call, and the guy says, I just think that I may have to go down the road and talk to that other company. I said, well, go ahead. Feel free. But let me explain something to you. I don't come with the guy down the road. You understand? So you want me, let's just get the deal done because I don't come down the road. He signed a paper. Thank you. Okay, and that's what it is. See, service is part of sales too. People don't believe that. Service really supersedes part of the sales process. And that's the mindset you got to have in. That's the same way I do with the business advisor. You know, I care about my clients. They got to be successful. I do, but they do too. And maybe to a fault, but I'm passionate about that. And I'll give you an example of this. I had a guy, I'm doing some business coaching. I do that too. And so we're doing weekly calls, the guy. So I'll get him on, we're doing a little Zoom call. So I'd given him some homework, if you will, some items, tasks to complete at the last call to be accomplished this call. So I said, hey, how'd you go? Did you list? You get your list finished? You get everything? Well, no, I didn't get it all done. Well, why didn't you? Well, here we go with excuses. Well, I had to watch my daughter a couple of hours while I went shopping. I said, stop. Help me understand why I care more about your business than you do. Okay. Now, some people might say, but wait a minute, he's taking care of his family. No, he's not. He won't take care of his family. He does what he's got to do to get his business to the level where he always has that security and financial stability to take care of his family. That's how he takes care of his family. Not worried about his wife going shopping, because she ain't going to shop in a little while, because when he's broke, her shopping day's over with. Yeah.
So do you find early on with prospective clients, or even early on with a client who's written a check and said, okay, we're going to take a swing at this, that they sometimes bristle with some of these ideas, or do they typically embrace them pretty fully right out of the box?
Overall, most of them really kind of grab hold of it, because, it's either you know or you don't know. Mm-hmm. And you only know what you know. And so what we bring to that table is the knowledge that business owners need, but we break it down to where it's real simple. It doesn't have to be rocket science, it doesn't. It's just baseline principles. And I believe today, that's why a lot of businesses kind of pull back or hold back. They think it's money, but not necessarily. Sometimes it is, but they don't scale or they don't want to grow because they really don't know how to go about it. And of course, they watch the CNBC and the Fox Business, all those yah-yahs on TV.
Turn that off.
Yeah. This breeding.
At least that's my counsel.
I know it. Yes, breed negativity. The world's coming to an end. Lord, if I listened to them, I'd be on drugs, which Big Pharma would love that. Just make more money. You got to stay away from the noise. And I even tell people, I had a client, it's a doctor, and she said, well, I hired a consultant, a couple of years ago, but he didn't do anything for me. I said, well, really? I said, and I don't really care who, because I don't rag on anybody. There's some really good consultants out there, don't get me wrong, but there's no one else out there doing what I do today, what Cardinal Mission. No one. There's no other company out there that's doing what we do. But I told her, I said, well, what'd you do when you screen your consultant? Did you ask me the questions? Well, no. I said, let me tell you, there's 3 questions you need to ask you. Anybody you're getting information from, especially when it concerns your business. 1, what's the largest company you've ever grown? 2, what's the largest amount of revenue in a company you've built? And 3, what's the largest exit of a company you've ever accomplished?
That would weed out a lot of coaches and consultants, I think, those 3 questions.
I mean, it does. It's amazing.
Right.
And it's kind of funny. I had to do a seminar, and the guy said, hey, well, let me ask you a question. And he's paying attention. I love that. How many businesses have you taken to $151 million? I said, 0. I said, the largest business I've ever grown to date has been $1 million 5 years. And I know your next question is, what makes you think I'm qualified? So I said, because I got Brandon Dawson that did that, and he has taught me everything he knows. And it's his principles and his policies that I'm teaching you to blow your business up. Next question. I'm not here. We're totally transparent.
Yeah.
And I want you to succeed. I'm not here trying to get you money. It's not. It's about your success. But nothing's free in the world, Nothing is. And for what you pay to be part of our system, what I do for you, is really chump change compared to what your business is going to see at the end of the day. And I'm talking about within 12, 18-month time frame. I've seen it. We've got business now.
That's fast.
Yeah. Let me tell you this. I've got to say this guy, he owns, I just want brain dead on. I'd say his full name. I apologize. But he owns SWAT Roofing out of Texas. Okay. Here's the guy that was stuck at break point, about 4 million. It's about 4 or 5 years steady. Got a good business going. Mm-hmm. He just couldn't get past that. Well, so he comes across Brandon, the 10X and grants marketing stuff. He comes to a 360, which was one of our big classes, 2-day event. That's just phenomenal. That I recommend to everybody. It's a little pricey, but you get ROI on that in under 90 days, I guarantee you. So he gets there, goes through it, takes 4 items he got from the 360 back, implements them into his business. And within an 18-month time frame, he went from $4 million to $8.5 million. And let me tell you what's really mind-boggling about that. The guy had double bypass surgery.
Good Lord.
Yeah, and a brain tumor removed, for Christ's sakes. And he went all through because he used the principles he learned from 360, restructured a little bit of his business, got everything in place. So he wasn't working in his business. He's working outside and managing his business. And that's another thing I think business owners really some don't understand. And I was the same way with mine. I'm right in the middle. You can't do everything.
Well, I understand it, and I still do it. That's right. There's that crowd too, right? At least I'm self-aware enough to know that it's a challenge for me, but it's such an easy trap to fall into, at least for me personally. Yeah,
it is. I was the same way. Because I'm in a hurry. I'm impatient. I want everything done right now.
And I can do it quicker than she can, but if I start doing something quicker and better than she and he and her, then I'm not doing my job.
Well, that's true.
Right?
Yeah. But, that's part of the structure. We've got a 2-day event. It's called People Essentials. And it's amazing because what you learn after that 2 days is really intense on how to hire, fire, terminate employees, but really how to set your employees, personal and professional financial goals, and align them with your company business goals. That's really the secret. You'll see that in a lot of businesses now. I worked for one years ago, Prince Corporation up in Michigan. It was kind of similar to that. They kind of had that mantra, if you will. But other than that, it's not. Everybody looks like, well, we got to have this money, hey, I want a promotion. Well, forget it. We're not making enough money, not get promoted. Well, what happens is you can lose good employees because your employees say, well, why should I stay here? What's long term? What's in it for me? What about me? Oh, I'm just making the business owner rich and I'm over here starving. Mm-hmm. I can't make my house payment. And that's what we go in and have to get rid of. You have to learn to incentivize your employees. There's ways to do it. And I'm telling you, it doesn't cost the business more. You want your employees engaged. That's how you do it. Because let me tell you right now, I think MIT did the survey. 78% of employees are disengaged on the job right now. Okay.
God, isn't that scary?
That's 2/3.
Man.
I'm surprised we don't have more businesses going out of business. You can't run an efficient, effective business if employees aren't engaged. And this kind of reverts back to what I was talking about a few minutes ago. If your employee's broke, he's not going to be engaged at work, okay? And somebody goes, well, that's not my responsibility. Yes, it is. As a business owner, that is your responsibility. Each one of the employees ought to be your responsibility because you're bringing them on board your ship. You need to make sure that they're right because those employees are what's going to build your business, not you. And that's why I suggest we tell people, hey, you need to sit employees down when you first hire them, your onboarding process. Hey, what's your personal, professional, financial goals? And I guarantee 98% say, well, I don't know. Nobody's ever asked me that. I have never, and I've worked W-2 job, manufacturing over 16 years. I've never had an employer ask me that. What are my goals? Never. Have you ever had yours asked?
I have, and I feel incredibly blessed by that. And it's one of the reasons that I learned to make money and learned to hang on to it. I had a mentor early in my career by the name of Steve Brown. He ran a sales training and development company, and we also did leadership development company. And he did ask me that question very much that way. And I think it set the stage for a very productive career and a marvelous relationship and a great deal of loyalty. But that has got to be rare.
Oh, it really is.
Yeah.
I think Cardone Ventures has had a little over 50 companies go through our full program. That's from, all our events, 360 through, and then maybe through a platform. We have a platform review, which is this is what's amazing about this. This platform is about this thick. I ain't kidding you. about this thick, that's that long. You flip through it. This is a 10-year plan, detailed blueprint for you to grow or start a business. I mean, it didn't miss nothing. I'm talking about by the numbers. And I give you an example of that. We had a engineer guy, he's out of Texas, a young guy. He's Oriental because I was kidding him because my Korean from the military is kind of awful and he was Korean. And I asked him, you always learn the bad words first. And I think I used one. And he laughed. He said, that wouldn't even be a good bad word because you said it wrong. I said, okay. That's why I just stick with English. Of course, I'm Southern. I'm authorized to butcher the English language, just because I'm Southern. But he had went to the 360 and spoke with Brandon. And after the 360, he called, got a hold of Brandon, and goes, hey, Brandon, I'm getting ready to start my business. And I don't need all this other right now. I want a platform. And the platform's a couple $100,000. Okay. But that's really dirt cheap. It's like 190,000. And Brandon looked at him and said, sure. He said, well, yep, I already know what I'm doing. I got this background. I got this. He said, but I want to start it from the ground up the right way, perfect every time. And that's what he got. First year, after you got the platform done, $4 million. Spoke with him 2 months ago, and that put him at about 20 months. He's going towards $8 million.
Well, that math works for me. Tell me more about this 360, and you don't have to dive into a lot of detail unless you just want to, but I'm trying to get a picture of how a client can take full advantage of all these resources and the expertise and experience that you and your team have in this domain. Is that often an entry point, the first place where someone sort of enters into your world? Is this 360 thing, or? Well,
that's one way.
Okay.
You can, if you see it on social media or if you've been on my list, I might send you an email. I may even call you, or my business development team could call you and offer that to you. Mm-hmm. I have to tell you, just a quick thing. I won't go on all of it, but I do want to hit the 360 because that's one of the biggies, I would say.
Well, it got my attention, which was one of Grant's rules, right? Get my attention.
Let me tell you, that is the most amazing. It's 2 days because we're going to learn in 2 days. You're going to be surprised. It's so intense. It's out of this world, but It's great. We have a basic 3-day business boot camp, which covers marketing, sales, and some business strategies. We got a marketing execution workshop, a sales execution workshop that I think anybody with a sales team needs to attend, because you want to increase your sales and have a better sales team, you got to go. You got to do it. I'm telling you, trust me, it'll work. People essentials. We have a leadership essentials, which I think a lot of business owners kind of need. Some of us, I was kind of that way when I ran I knew it all. You can't tell me. I'm the business owner. Don't tell me I don't know how to run my business. Dude, I didn't know half of that. That was an idiot. Okay. But, even part of that leadership essentials, what it does, we kind of open up and shows you where your gaps are that you may have in leadership. There's nothing wrong. None of us are perfect. Nobody is. There's always room, for more knowledge and learn. And then we got the finance essentials, which I would say if you already got business going, initially, I'd say the first two you probably want to come to are the people essentials and the finance essentials. Because the finance, it covers, the baseline, how to interpret basic financial statements, P&L, the balance sheet stuff. But it really gets more into, the quality factors that affect business evaluation, how do you incentivize your team, and a bunch of other things. And as well as I do, it is about the numbers. A business has to make money to survive, and especially got to make it to grow. And so you want to have those basics in place so you're effective and you're efficient. And then, then we get to the 360, and that really we hit really hard on the 4 pillars of business, And then at the end of the course, day 2, you'll set a 90-day plan for your business based off a 360-degree look at your business. Because when you go, you're going to say, oh, wow, I didn't know about that. Oh, I'm not doing this, or, hey, at least I'm doing that right. But, and it's amazing. And, it's just such an eye opener. We've had over 400 people go through the 360 as of date. Like I told you, it's about $40,000 rounded off. Someone goes, well, that's a lot of money. Not really. You may think it is, but I can tell you this: every business that's gone through the 10X 360 have recouped that money within 90 days. Every one. Some even sooner than that. And so you're going to take away about 40 or 50 new things back to your business you've learned from a 360. All you need to implement is 2 or 3. You're going to, because if you're my client, I'm going to be calling, following up, going, hey, did you do that? Because you don't have an option. We kind of push because we care about it. Cardinal Ventures does. If it's not me or somebody else, we'll be pushing. Hey, did you get that done? I don't spend money for nothing. But they really overcharge. I shouldn't say that. 3 times what to do for that course. Not that they're going to jack the price up, but they should. The value is unbelievable. And then, of course, like I was talking about the platform. The next thing is the TEDx platform, and I explain kind of what that is. And then we got you'll hear them talk about an SBU, and that's Strategic Business Unit. And I do want to kind of cover that because you'd hit that level after you go through the platform system, so to speak, So you've got your platform, and now you're implementing it, getting it going, really starting to scale. And our SBU comprised about 5 functional experts, all dedicated to the fields: marketing, finance, human resources, and people / training. They work cross-functionally to help the business owners implement that strategy of the platform review. They have weekly calls, they have monthly calls, and they're kind of act as a bolt-on pseudo executive leadership team, to guide the present business decisions based on the future outcomes. If that makes sense to you. For their predicted for the 10-year growth plan. And so, say for example, you've gone through that, you hadn't hired an HR manager yet. You really don't have one. Well, guess what? You don't have to. Cardinal Ventures, SBU, could take care of that for you. Those things that you don't have to necessarily, you may not be ready for that time to bring it in-house, or maybe it's not profitable for you to bring it in-house. A lot of times it is, but that's just strategic business decisions. And each industry is a little different. It's not one size fits all. It's all industry specific is what it is. And, but they do so much for the business. It's just crazy.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the SBU and described some of what happens when someone participates at that level, because it strikes me, and it's an assumption I want to test with you, that as powerful as all of these different things you've been sharing with us, from the impact factors to the 10 commandments and that kind of thing, that competency and high performance, it's even with all of that knowledge and even with some operational practice, it's still a moving target, right? Things can fade. You got to circle back. So there are these events, and there's this injection of content and principles and all that, but there seems to be real process to what you do, and the ability to have people tap in and with an objective lens and help you stay on track. There's a process aspect to your thing. It's not just a series of events. Is that
right?
accurate?
Yeah, absolutely,
okay,
absolutely.
Okay.
It's not. It is. We have a sequence of events that we do. Now, you don't necessarily have to do a few of them in order. There's some that you should, based on the people, the finance stuff. You could do that, one before the other. It wouldn't really impact you. But I would say the 360 first, prior to the platform. Boom. Then you get into the SBU if you need them, and do it that way, structured.
But these calls, this ongoing interaction with someone who has a vested interest in my success. I mean, right. You can't just do it and then be done, right?
No. It's ongoing. And, once you do those things, you're going to have interactions with either my team or Cardinal Ventures team.
Yeah.
That's going to be assist you the whole way. If I'm your business advisor, you don't get rid of Kyle. You don't get rid of Kyle until you close your business, or I die, and I'll come back, because I'm not done with you. Sorry, I'm a pain, because I'm going to be there. And I do business coaching. A lot of my clients I do. And part of the business coaching is, people say, well, what do you do? Well, I got to explain to some people, because some people don't understand the difference from a consultant, even though it's Big Bulldog Consulting, a consultant and a business coach. A consultant usually comes in and does everything themselves. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Here you go. There's your thing. Leaves. Of course, a lot of them you leave, runs okay, and about 6 months later, now it's back to where it was, and you call them back, and they go get some more money to do the same thing. I don't believe in that, because I believe in coming in. We set up systems, strategies, and formulations you're going to implement that's something you keep. It doesn't disappear. You have it forever. But when I'm coaching is more of accountability. You know, I'm helping keep you on track.
That's a helpful distinction. Thank you. Because I come from the training and consulting world, and I still get this consulting coaching thing. It kind of morphs for me.
Yeah. You know, people really need to understand it, especially because there's tons of coaches out there. I mean, life coaches, you know, those kind of coaches.
Yeah.
Well, you know, as a consultant, you have to know what you're talking about, because, say, for example, the only thing I could be technically a consultant about would be sales, okay, manufacturing, and leadership, period. Because I spent 10 years in the military, covers my leadership. Sales, I've done that for about 12 years. And then I was in manufacturing 16 years, because if you don't know that and something goes south, somebody can go sue you because you wasn't a true consultant. Whereas a coach, you don't have to be technically know Sean about. I know it sounds bad. I don't mean that. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to have, 50 years worth of experience to be a coach and still be a valuable, good coach. But that's a significant difference. But coach, I really enjoy, I'm not really hard. I am sometimes. It's just because I care.
But there's this accountability dynamic that's a critical component of the coaching relationship, right?
Oh, absolutely. It is. And, I've got a coach too. Mine's the big guys. And I have to answer them. And
I love it, though, that you eat your own cooking. And you are a walking, talking example of these values that you espouse and these principles that you are recommending people engage.
Yeah, how can I tell you, hey, you need me to be a business coach? I don't have one. Dude, I'm not perfect. I have a wife.
And she's over there nodding her head, too. She's not on the air, but she's in here with us.
Yeah, that does a real good job at keeping me accountable. But then I got Brandon and I got Grant be all over me. But you need that. But because, as a business owner, like you said earlier, you get busy, you get a lot of things going on, and you may say, well, miss something or put something aside, or like, well, I don't know how important this is. I think in the moment, this is more important. No, it wasn't. So if you got that accountability partner, your coach, go, hey, wait a minute, no, this is your priorities. You and I set these together. We agreed on these. And, I don't go in and tell somebody how to run a business. It's not up to me. I will give them proven strategies and systems to implement. Don't get me wrong. But I'm not going to come in and say, hey, you just need to do this, do that. Don't, like I said, I've been there. Don't come in and tell me how to run my business. Now, if you got suggestions to show me how my business can get better, I'm all ears. But don't come dictate, because maybe I'm not ready for that yet. And that's true. Everybody has different timelines for different people. Some may want to get it and go. And we do push. We push. I'll push you. I want you to go quick. I want those dollar bills flushing out of your pockets as quick as I can. But, maybe you've got a little bit more of a conservative mindset and you want to pull back a little bit. I'm not going to let you retreat. I'll let you slow it a little bit. But I want you to get there, because that's the way you got to do. You got to be quick about it. You got to make quick decisions. Make the right decisions, move on, move forward.
I'm going to shift gears on you as we begin to wind down here. You are clearly incredibly passionate about the work. You are obviously invested in your client's success. Every time that you begin to talk about the work, your eyes light up and it permeates the room. I know it makes a journey across the airwaves. My question is, what passions outside the scope of this work do you pursue? What do you have a tendency to nerd out, as my kids would say? For me, my listeners know it's hunting, fishing, and travel. Is there anything outside the scope of this work that you just really enjoy and dive into?
Yeah, you know what? Some people say you're crazy. I don't. I'm all about building this secure network for my family. I'm not the youngest guy. I'm 59, and I should have been at this level, 40 years ago, but I didn't have the mentors, the training that I do now. And I'm not looking back. It's no poor, pitiful me, no victim. It is what it is, and it's never too late. But I'm on this track to leave this legacy for my kids and grandkids, and I want a financial position for them. So if something happens to me, if something happens to the economy, I don't care if the economy drops like 2008 or politics goes south and gets stupid, then I want my family in the 5 or 1% model, because middle America is broke. Society tells you, hey, just be part of middle America. Yeah, and be broke, guys. That's a myth. It's all bad stuff you got to get out of your head. You need to be pushing for the 5 and the 1%. I know people rag on the 1%ers. the Elon Musk, all those guys. But you know what? And, actually, Grant's one of those. Actually, he's a 1%er. But, he could go buy the island of Belize, build a house, sit there in his, BVDs, drinking Bahama Mamas, smoking cigars, and don't have to do anything else. And his family, kids, grandkids, probably great-grandkids, still be taken care of. Same with Bezos, billions of dollars. He don't have anything to worry about. And see, to me, that's true freedom. And that's what I'm after. I'm after freedom and financial freedom for my family. And that's the goal. Until I get there, there's no stopping. And I don't feel like it's hard because I really enjoy what I do.
Oh, I can tell.
So, and I will say, before I really got pounded into this, a lot of guys hunt and fish. And I'm not ragging on, Michigan was a hunter's paradise.
Yeah.
But I spent too many years in the woods in the Army. And my idea of camping out is a 5-star motel, dude, in hot water. I'm sorry, that's just me. But I'm Mr. Exciting. I don't do any of that. I read books.
Uh-huh.
In school, I hated school, period. High school, the only reason I went for girls. Because they wouldn't let me make money. Finally, my senior year, I got to go to DECA program, where you get out too early and go.
Sure.
I'm like, thank God I can make money. Because I hated school. I didn't want anything to do. I was all about making that money and keep me a millionaire going to high school, I was thinking, But and that's what I do. So I read. And I really like it. The Army's one that got me reading. I hate it. But in the Army, it's hurry up and wait sometimes. And so you always carry around a book. And that's what kind of got me in the reading mode. And now, history books, self-help. I love reading. So that's what I do for excitement, if you will, on when I'm not focused on my business and growing it.
Before we wrap, I'd love to leave our listeners, if we could, with a couple of actionable tips. And look, gang, the number one tip, if any of this is striking a chord with you, reach out, have a conversation with Kyle, somebody on his team, and learn more. But between now and that phone call or that note, if there's something that they can be reading, if there's something they should be thinking about doing or not doing, but a couple of things just to begin to set the wheels in motion. Let's leave them with a couple tips if we could.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I think every business owner today needs, if you don't have your goals, your personal and professional goals written down, you need to write them down. You need to have your mission statement. And it needs to be right in front of you. Okay. You got to have it. You're not going to be successful without it. Your core values. What are your core values? And your business should be run off core values. That's something you need to look at. You may not have them, may not be in stone yet. You really need to sit down and spend 30 minutes to an hour and think about them and put them there and then implement them in your business. That's just something you can do on your own, because when you talk to me, that's the first thing I'm going to ask you. Let me see your mission statement. How you going to do it? Let me see your core values. Let me see your goals. Because without any of that, you don't have any path to know where you're going. And guys, let me tell you, confusion guarantees failure.
Well said. Well, Kyle, it has been an absolute delight having you in the studio this morning. I knew it would be after we had a brief phone call. Thank you for your insight, your perspective. Thank you for sharing your experience. Keep up the good work, man. You're doing important work, and I want you to know that we appreciate you.
Hey, Stone, I appreciate you having me on here. And just so everybody knows, if you got any questions or anything, feel free to go to bigbulldogconsulting.com, or you can call me straight at 770-733-3470, or you can email me at kyleb@grantcardoneteam.com. Either one of those ways, do it. Give me a call. If this has something where I could put a link, and maybe I will later on where you can see it, put a link where you can hit a button to set a calendar link for me. And if you'd like to have a 15-minute strategy call, no obligation, no charge, just give me a call and we'll set it up and be more than happy to do it.
What a marvelous way to invest a Tuesday morning. And yes, we will put that link on there where we publish. And again, this has been terrific, man. Thank you.
Hey, Stone, I really appreciate it. And thanks for allowing me the opportunity to get the 10X mentality out to all these businesses, because I just want to see them all grow and blow this world up.
My pleasure. All right, until next time, this is Stone Payton for Kyle Baxter with Big Bulldog Consulting and everyone here at the Business RadioX family saying we'll see you again on Cherokee Business Radio.